Going to call the Riviera Beach City Council regular meeting, April 21st, 2021. Madam Clerk, can I get the roll call?
Mayor Ronnie Felder.
Here.
Chairperson Shirley Lanier.
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Kashamba Miller Anderson.
Present.
Councilperson Troderick McCoy.
Here.
Councilperson Douglas Lawson.
Here.
Councilperson Julia Botel.
Here.
City Manager Jonathan Evans.
Present.
City Clerk Claudine Anthony is present. City Attorney Don Nguyen.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We would have a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Kashamba Miller Anderson. If you have, you meaning our, my colleagues, if you have reviewed this agenda, are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
Madam Chair, there are some additions that the clerk will read off into the record, and staff is requesting that the presentation of Peanut Island update is moved after the Citizens Leadership Academy presentation.
Madam Chair, members of the board, if you would be so kind to indulge me. Today, you received an email regarding 2 community benefits from the office of Councilperson Lawson. Copies have been provided to you. The first one is $2,000 for the Reggie D. Foundation for the National Poetry Event.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
what number will that one be?
So you received an addition deletion sheet with the item number 6A on it. There was confusion with the company as it relates to one of the items that was missing from the public's agenda and not your agenda that you received via email. So we're going to make this one 6A as that mistake was corrected by the company. So the community benefit for Reggie D. Foundation in the amount of $2,000 will now be 6A. Mind Over You from the office of Councilperson Lawson in the amount of $1,000 will be item number 6B. And during the recess, I also received another addition from the office of Councilperson Botel for Palm Beach State College in the amount of $5,000. That would be item number 6C.
How much?
5,000.
And, oh,
Madam
okay.
Chair,
Yes.
what's the number for Lawson? I don't see it on this form. Mind Over You.
Yeah, there's no dollar amount.
1,000 is what she stated.
Okay. thank
The amount is listed on, I believe it's the 5th page of the document, where it says, I, Douglas Lawson, hereby.
you. Okay, thank you.
Second page.
Okay. And also, so that's item 6A, 6B, and 6C. Also, Madam Chair, members of the board, in making the copies for the backup for the public, it was noticed that the backup information for item number 1, the minutes for the February 17, 2021 City Council meeting were not uploaded. It is being requested that this item be deleted and be moved to the next agenda, next City Council meeting agenda.
So the February 17, 2021 meetings will be moved to the next agenda.
That is correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I believe I've covered all additions that I have in my hand.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what, you all mentioned about Peanut Island, where, I don't see that on this agenda here.
It's at the end anyway. It's already at the end. I don't know what.
Yeah,
time it
it's
is.
not in consent, is it? I mean, it's not,
Peanut Island discussion is item number 14.
okay, so it's staying at the end, or we're moving it to the
We're
beginning?
asking to move it under awards and presentations after Citizens Leadership Academy.
Oh, okay. So we're keeping that number at 14?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, that will still retain the number of 14.
Under the, okay, gotcha. Are there any other additions, deletions, substitutions for this agenda? Colleagues, as you review this agenda, are there any disclosures of any of these items on the agenda? Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda with the changes?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda with those changes.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. This is the portion of the agenda that is considered to be the consent agenda. All
Madam
ma-
Chair,
Yes.
members of the board, the time is 7:36 and public comments is due to start at 7:30. What's the pleasure of the board?
We get through the,
We'll go through the consent agenda and then go to it.
well, Madam Chair, I know we have some people here from Citizen Leadership Academy who have been here since the utility meeting, so if we could at least do that and then maybe go to the public comments, so they're not sitting
So we'll put it after the presentation? Yes.
after the, yeah,
Okay.
after Citizen Leadership.
All right, very good. Consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine and action will be taken by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council person so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Madam Clerk,
I want to pull 6C, Madam Chair.
you want to?
6C.
All right, very good. Are there any questions in regards to the consent agenda? Madam Clerk, are there any public comments for the consent?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we do have public comment on the consent agenda. The acceptance of public comment on the consent agenda is now closed.
Thank you. Proceed.
Desiree Rivas?
Hello. First, thank you for letting me speak. City manager, mayor, councilman, this is my first time ever being at a meeting like this. I'm here to represent the National Poetry Month Festival, and also in conjunction, I'm a Riviera Beach citizen and business owner, and I'm here in behalf of the Reggie D Foundation as well. Me and my business partner, Sean Frazier, we've been producing spoken word and poetry events in Palm Beach County for almost 20 years. And in fact, in 2009, we were able to bring Poetry Nationals to West Palm Beach. And for those not familiar with poetry in the community like that, Nationals, it's like the Super Bowl for poetry, and you have to actually work to win to be the host city because it brings thousands of people and thousands of dollars in revenue. So we were able to do that for West Palm, and we decided to found our own spoken word festival due to the relationships we have and the success that we've had. And we were adamant in wanting to do it here in Riviera Beach for multiple reasons. And we were very strategic even in the flyers and the promotions. I don't know if you've seen the flyers yet, but we have a picture of the marina. It's a beautiful backdrop. I've lived here for several years. I've handed those flyers to people and they said, "Is that in Miami?" And I said, "No, that's here." We also worked hard in our PR and our press releases, and we've already gotten national press from NPR. And this is something that we want to expand on every single year and grow it as a community event. And this year we're asking for some help with some funding because it's the inaugural event and it's taken a lot of hard work. So I just want to thank you for your consideration. And once again, I'm here. I'm a resident, a business owner, and I'm also working with the Reggie D Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, that completes public comment for the consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
You heard that second? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before we take a vote, I was going to ask if any of the colleagues, I've actually seen this event and would love for this event to be something that we bring as a city, annual event, and have this item discussed during our budget item. But if any of my colleagues would be interested in providing support to the Reggie D Foundation and the event that's actually happening this weekend. I know our CRA has gotten behind it substantially in regards to promotion and advertisement, but if any colleagues would be interested in contributing some community benefit dollars towards the foundation to assist with this event that's happening this weekend, I think it'd be a phenomenal event for our community.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I actually received the application, and I will contribute if we are still able to do so, the 500 towards it for the community benefits.
Madam Clerk, you can add that as 6D,
I didn't realize that was for the event for this
500
weekend.
from Commissioner Kashama Miller Anderson's office.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I could, I'd like to add 1,500 to it.
All right, that'll be 6E from the mayor's office. Very good. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda are awards and presentations, and let us move straight to the Citizens Leadership Academy recognition.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
6C.
Mr. McCoy for item 6C.
Oh, yes, he did. I'm so sorry, Mr. McCoy.
Well-
Would you please proceed,
well-
sir?
You know, I just wanted to ask some questions. It appears the chair doesn't even want you to have your community benefits even considered. So, you gave us a short form, Board Member Botel, but I'm just curious. It says programming costs for the city of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach State College cohort. Now, going forward, previously, was there any dollars set forth by community benefits?
I would have to check with my legislative aide, and I'm going to ask him to come to the podium because he has all these details about the number of people we've served, the number of people
What-
who have graduated.
I don't want to know
And
that.
so, wait a second. And so he would also be able to tell you if we have, in the past, I believe we have done in the neighborhood of 2,000 or 2,500. The original concept was to get money, the tuitions would be paid with money from the city if the students were city employees, and money for the tuitions of those people who are not city employees to be paid by Career Source. And since then, we have had some difficulty collecting from Career Source, possibly because not everybody who is taking the courses falls in their guidelines. So we're supplementing those tuitions with this community benefit dollars.
Okay, well, my next question is, so I guess absent of any other details, this is all I've seen. I don't think I need to know that they're nonprofit, but I guess going in perpetuity, is this set to sunset, this cohort program at some point?
No.
And I guess future funding would be based on
I would like to see,
allocation by the city?
I would like to see future funding come out of the department of the person who ultimately gets appointed as Economic Development Director, because I believe very strongly and firmly that this project should be part of an economic development program. So I think that should fall under that person's purview
Okay.
and budget.
And that's no problem. I'm just curious, is this this is the first I've seen it, if it's a one-time request or aside from community benefits. My question is this your initiative that you intend on having in the city's budget going forward?
Yes,
Okay, fair enough. That's it. That's all I needed.
thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
May I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next item.
We're on to the presentations, Madam Chair. Is Citizens Leadership Academy recognition? Madam Chair, members of the board, we do not have public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, if I can turn the presentation over to the Dean of Citizen Leadership Academy, Ms. Marcia Noel, to make the presentation this evening.
Dean.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Noel.
Thank you. I think that's title number 100 now, I don't know. All right, so good evening, everybody. My name is Marcia Noel, Assistant to the City Manager. Also, I had the opportunity of managing this year's Citizens Leadership Academy. Just very quickly, the Citizens Leadership Academy is a program that is aimed at educating members of the Riviera Beach community about city operations and services while empowering them to be more involved and engaged in their municipal government so that they can make a difference. This program dates back to 2017 and was first initiated by our councilperson, Ms. Miller Anderson. Ever since city administration has now housed this program so that this will be implemented on an annual basis. For 7 to 8 weeks, 20 people across the city and from various backgrounds dedicated themselves towards actively learning more than the average person. And those individuals are those who are here this evening with us in the front 2 rows, and also individuals that you see displayed on the screen. They received information about every department and engaged with all of our elected officials as well, from public works and development services to finance, information technology, and community programs. They learned it all. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we managed to hold the entire program in a virtual format, with exception to a tour that we held at the very end, which took place at the Utility Special District, the Fire Department, and the Police Department. But nonetheless, participants shared their genuine appreciation and thrill to have gained the knowledge that they now have and are eager to invite others to this program. So my call to action to each of our participants is to be a voice for the community and share what you've learned so others are empowered too. Also, we would like to thank all of the speakers that attended the Leadership Academy, which every department and program director attended, to include all of our elected officials who took 2 hours of their night for 7 weeks to participate with us. And so at this time, I would like to recognize the 11 participants that are with us for this special occasion. I will list each of their names, and all you simply have to do is, once I hand you the certificate, you can just line up behind me as best you can. All right, so I'm going to start with our first participant to be recognized this evening, and it is Kiara Hester. Takesha Sappold. Next, Jacqueline Woodard. Shaunalyn Emerson. You're welcome. Evelyn Harris Clark. Doretta Polk. Charles Finley. You're welcome. Next, Darlene Cruz. Celia Lopez. Corey Blackwell. And finally, but not least, Vernique Williams. So So congratulations to everyone that has participated. I also want to list the names of those who were unable to join us this evening. Tawana Williams, Tabitha Johnson, Samaria Halliburton, Tanya Franklin, Kim Span Osby, Christina Roll, Jatelsa Brown, Mary Beth Coffer, and Owen Hanslip. And at this time, I ask if everyone in the room can please give this wonderful group a round of applause. And just so you're aware, each participant will not only have a certificate signed by the mayor himself, but also they will take with them a Citizens Leadership Academy bag that's full of a few tokens of appreciation for their time and their commitment to have spent with us for over a month to learn about the operations of this city. And I truly do believe that amongst this group, you have individuals who have invested time into this community, individuals who are looking for ways to be more involved. We've had inquiries and interests about joining advisory boards, volunteering at events, and just even now, I just spoke with Ms. Takesha Saffold, who is visually impaired, and she is certainly an advocate for those who have impairments in the community. And we've even talked about setting up a meeting to see how she can maybe serve us as a city with her skill sets and her background to support in that area of need. So this is truly an opportunity to build bridges. And if you know anyone who is aspiring to lead in this community, to be a change maker in this community, I certainly do believe that the Citizens Leadership Academy is a great place to start. This is an annual program, so we're looking to put this on spring of next year. This year, the program was from February through March, and so it'll be about the same time next year. So if you want more information and be updated on the next program, just go to the city's website, rivierabeach.org. You can simply sign up through our online newsletter at the homepage at the very bottom, enter all your information, and so when that goes out, you can get it that way or just follow us on social media. And before I move on to the rest of my presentation, I did want to allow one of our students to come up here and share a few thoughts about her experience with the Academy. So, Ms. Kiara Hester.
Good evening, council, mayor, everyone in their respective places. I am a part of the 2021 spring cohort of the Citizens Leadership Academy of Riviera Beach. It was truly a pleasure being a part of this academy. I know you heard the city manager say Marsha is like the dean. She kept everyone in line like, hey, I had these people for 2 hours, don't keep them past, we're gonna start on time. So it was just truly a pleasure to learn about different departments, to meet department heads and different people involved in the procurement department, fire safety, police department, utility district, city clerk, city attorney, city manager's office, and other departments, and to ask questions, you know, informal questions, formal questions, to have those people dedicated to us for their allotted time to ask a variety of widespread questions. It was truly informative. I would say to the millennials that are watching, our time is now. This past weekend, I just buried my grandmother, Miss William Hester, and she was the last of her generation. And so that's been sticking with me. I am the baby of the class. So millennials, the time is now. If you're looking on how to become a part, I've only been back home roughly about 2 years. So I would say start here, and then you can branch and grow. Since being a part of this Leadership Academy, I am now a mentor of our city leadership mentoring program that service young ladies ages 7 to 19 under the direction of Ms. Lena Bell in Parks and Rec. So I would say get involved, start here, and I look forward to working with the next class next year. And even though a lot of information is passed through, get back in the program. If you wanted to get more information about something, or if you feel it was a lot in one setting, in one class, jump back in the next year. It is not a cutoff. So the class was wonderful. The speakers were great. I believe my vote will be for the city manager because he had a cute dog. That's a little in-house competition we had. But the program, and on behalf of myself and my lovely classmates, we thank you all for the opportunity. And back to Dean Marsha.
Oh, thank you so much for those kind words. It's been a pleasure working with this group. I feel like I'm a lot closer now to our wonderful graduates, and I've encouraged them to stay in touch, stay connected to us. I think they've even decided to form their own alumni network. So I think they're going to continue to do some great things here. So I'm going to go ahead and move us forward towards the second part of this presentation. And it's quite interesting that you mentioned who you voted for the best presentation, because it's going to burst Mr. Evans's bubble. But nonetheless, I'm going to invite the city manager for this one. As part of this year's Citizens Leadership Academy, the participants had an opportunity to vote on the best presenter. Like I said, every department head had an opportunity to speak and to present, and so they were all ranked through the exit surveys that took place after each workshop, and we've decided on a first place and second place winner, who Mr. Evans is going to present.
Well, thank you, Dean Noel, and certainly to the alumni class of 2021. Your institution will be sending you letters on how you can contribute to continue to fund this academic endeavor. So as Ms. Noel stated, that the department directors got into a competitive challenge to see who was able to deliver the best presentation, and the members of the class had the opportunity to vote. And there was no stops that were left. I used a puppy to close out my presentation, but that wasn't enough. And so when we were talking about recognizing the team that was able to deliver the best presentation, selfishly, we wanted to get the biggest trophy possible for who would be the winner, because we thought administration would be the department that won. But nonetheless, since we didn't win, we made some different changes. So, without further ado, I think it's important to recognize the department that received the highest number of exceed standards 10 on their presentation. It's none other than our Development Services Director, one of our newest members of the Executive Management Team, Director Clarence Sermons of the Development Services.
Mr. Evans, please mention the fact that he is a Florida A&M University Rattler, please.
Yeah. So, without further ado, I'm going to present him with his first place trophy. This is a traveling trophy, so names will be added. Director Sermon's peers have already started eyeing the trophy and have already issued the challenge. So, Director Sermons, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. Although it is a traveling trophy, I have no intentions of sending it to the next person next year. So for the other department heads, come with it. Thank you all to everyone in the Academy. It's always a pleasure for me to talk about planning and development, but especially the work of the Development Services Department and our charge to plan, build, and maintain this amazing city. So if ever any of you have any other questions, comments, concerns related to planning and development in this city, our office, our department is always available to help and talk with you more. So thanks again to everyone.
And certainly, we do want to take the opportunity to recognize second place, and unfortunately, Director Rodney Freeman isn't here. I asked Marsha to get me the smallest trophy that was still considered a trophy. So this is it, and this is presented to the second place winner of our Citizen Leadership Academy. So this is the smallest trophy that's been provided by our trophy vendor. So Ms. Noel, Dean Noel, will be accepting this award on behalf of Library Services and Mr. Rodney Freeman.
Since I didn't win, I'm not giving it back, but I'll make sure he receives it. All right, well, thank you all again for giving us some time to recognize trailblazers in our community that have joined us this evening. We truly appreciate the time you all took as well. They certainly said that they would have recommended every single workshop to somebody that they know. So with that being said, that completes our presentation, and if I can get our group to meet just outside these doors, we're going to take a group picture. I know we have to continue on with the meeting, but we'll take a quick snap. So thank you all.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Just very quickly, I think I was part of the first or second cohort. Second, perhaps?
I believe so.
Maybe second. In any event, I just wanted to thank Kashama Miller Anderson for her vision in starting this program. It's a wonderful way for people to get to understand the city and all of its functions and its variety of directors, some great and some better than great. So thank you, Kashama, for starting it, and I hope we can continue for many years to come.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say thank you to the city manager and the team, the department heads, and especially Marsha. Marsha can tell you at the very beginning I didn't want to let go, but I knew that I had to because it was no longer mine. So, but I can tell you she really took it and ran with it, and it should be noted that there are several people in this current class that this is probably like their third or fourth time participating. My mom, Jackie Woodard, Miss Polk, Miss Darlene. We also have some people in the audience, Mr. Wiley, Miss JB, and I think that's it. But that goes to show you how much they learn something every year. They learn something new, so they continue to come. And like Kiera definitely said something that's true. I initially had the younger kids as well in the first couple of years, and so that was to build the pipeline of younger folks so that they could get into leadership positions. So she said what needed to be happening. We need to have young people getting involved as well. So, but I thank you all so much. I certainly thank the department heads for continuing the challenge of trying to compete, because that was always something that we continued to do, but you all took it to another level with the trophies. So I appreciate that, and I just thank you all for, and the board, I have to say for the board for indulging me in taking over, allowing the city to take it over so that it continues to go on for years to come. When I did it the first few years, that was something I did with my community, well, no, it wasn't my community benefits. It was the utility district stipend that I did not take. I utilized that money to go towards the Citizen Leadership Academy. So now it's a city function, and which is why we have our illustrious dean heading it now. So thank you all again. I appreciate it. I'm very proud of you all.
Let's give this class another round of applause. They were excellent. Madam Clerk, we can move on to the next item.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're now going to item number 14.
Should we go to public comment because people are waiting?
This is, how long is this presentation, Mr. Evans? I understand that. I understand that. Mr. Evans, how long is this presentation?
Madam Chair, it's roughly about probably 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes? All right, we'll go ahead and because we are 30 minutes past our time for public comment, we will go ahead and move to public comment now. And Mr. Evans, you can provide this presentation after our public comment.
No problem, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, if I can get you to read the statement into the record, please.
Please be reminded, the City Council has adopted rules of decorum, public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted at the front desk. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the council chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and/or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Public comment shall begin at 7:30 unless there is no further business of the city council, which in any event, it shall begin sooner. In addition, if any item is being considered at 7:30, then comments from the public shall begin immediately after the item has been concluded. Any persons who would like to speak during public comments, please fill out a public comment card located at the front desk and give it to the staff before the public comment section is announced. Madam Clerk?
Madam Chair, members of the board, the acceptance of public comments at this particular section of the agenda is now closed. Desiree Reeves, Sean Frazier, Paige Parker.
Will the names of the residents whose names have been called come to the podium?
Desiree Reeves, Sean Frazier, Paige Parker.
Okay, that's fine. Next person, Madam Clerk?
Sean Frazier,
Yes.
Paige
Good eve-
Parker, and Peter Haruda.
I'm sorry. Good evening, Madam Chairperson, Council, Mr. Evans, Councilpersons, and Mayor Felder. My name is Sean Frazier. I'm part of the group that's representing Reggie D. Foundation along with the poetry event. And I just wanted to take 1 second to, first of all, thank you for everything you've done already. You guys have been speaking with us, working with us. You've made an incredible effort to help us along, give us instruction, and accommodate us. I did want to mention that one of the things that's really important about poetry is that it's been seen as a form of therapy. So when you think about the ways that poetry can affect our community in terms of healing from writing, people thinking about, the way that people process the things that they see in our community, we're looking to give people an opportunity to open up in different ways. That's what the arts present, and we thought, again, as Desiree stated, that Riviera Beach is the perfect place for that. So again, we want to take what has been said about Riviera Beach that we know is not necessarily true. We want to take what we know about Riviera Beach, and we want to juxtapose that with an annual event that is going to allow for not only the local residents and the people in the state of Florida to get a better understanding, but the nation and, eventually internationally as well. As one of the headliners that we're bringing is actually, we're bringing them in from Amsterdam. So, we have a very far reach. We're just looking to make sure that what we do is an absolute benefit to this local community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Paige Parker, Peter Ruda, Thane Losman.
It's Peter Ruda, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm going to read what my wife had to present, Paige Parker. She had to go due to some medical reasons and stuff. She's not able to stay later. She wrote something, and I'm just going to read what she wrote. It says, "Good evening. I have stood up in front of you all many times, each time with a quiver in my voice, fighting back a tear, a quivering voice and a tear because I am compassionate about my hometown for over 40 years of Singer Island and Riviera Beach. I often speak on the overcrowding of the roads, water supplies, sewer, storm drains, and the lift stations on Singer Island. As Island has been my main place of residence all these years, this does not in any way mean that I do not care about the city as a whole, because I most certainly do. Tonight, I hate to say it, but I told you so, and I said it to say I told you so. At the last meeting, I spoke about how bad the traffic and speeding was on the island, how no one obeys the speed limit or traffic signals, and how out of hand the dangerous the situation is, and that someone that was going to get hurt or worse, get killed. Well, that happened last week. That was a horrific, deadly accident, and it was in front of the City Ambassador Center. Because of the accident, the Ocean Avenue was shut down at the Ocean Mall, north corner of Park Avenue South, and traffic was being directed at each end of the crash scene into the surrounding neighborhoods. There was no direction except at the scene because of further confusion and dangerous conditions as people were lost, confused, and frustrated trying to find their way through the neighborhood with no direction. I watched in horror and am dismissed as the traffic built up over the bridge. Coming on the island, people were using the emergency lanes to pass each other. My horror intensified as I watched fire trucks and ambulances try to make their way down the bridge to the crash scene with traffic piled up and emergency lanes blocked. It seems basic thinking would have put officers at the foot of the bridge directing traffic down the Lake Drive so traffic would not pile up the bridge. More accidents could have not happened, and most important, so emergency vehicles could quickly and safely move through. We need more policing of the speed limit on Singer Island. We need speed traps, flashing signs, whatever it would take. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
Fane Lozman, Corey Blackwell, William Wiley, J.B. Dixon.
Thane Lozman, Singer Island. Madam Chair, congratulations on your new position. If the clerk has not given you a copy of Robert's Rules of Order, you should request a copy. Like, for example, tonight, Rule 65. Rule 65, when you transact business out of order, like when you moved public comment out of order, you have to take that to a vote, and it must pass by 2/3. You just can't have a little free-for-all between yourselves. Also, you should also look at time certain. They had a big discussion when they set that at 7:30, and really nothing should move the 7:30 time unless it's an emergency. So even though those people were waiting around, the proper course of doing that, they would have to wait for public comment to end, and then they can come. There wasn't an emergency for them to wait 20 minutes, but that over the years, that had a lot of discussion. So Rule 65 and time certain means time certain. I've been tied up with some other projects. I can't deal with Riviera Beach 365 days out of the year, but I've been gone for about a month, and a lot has happened. I own about 2.17 million square feet out there, and I have a floating home that's on less than 1,000 square feet of floating dock. So less than 1,000, I own over 2 million square feet. The DEP has filed a legal action against me in response to a legal action I filed against them, where we were seeking a declaration that we do not need a permit to fill in our property, and those neighbors of ours that don't have permits. So they came back and filed a lawsuit seeking a $15,000 a day fine against me. So we are in quite a dogfight about that. The fence on Pine Point Road, we've put probably about $50,000 into that legal fight with the city. I don't know how much money the city spent, but that now is before the Florida Building Commission. It's not before the special magistrate. And we filed we had one of the top lawyers in the state of Florida file a request for a binding interpretation with the Florida Building Commission. If they rule in our favor, that's going to be a very big deal because the evidence has come out that the fence was inspected and approved. And it's all over until Botel and the Pine Point Road people stepped in and said they don't want the fence there. So there's a lot going on the fence battle. And finally, my electric's been taken away. I can't have a fence. And basically, my property where my floating home is now has been turned into a park. It's kind of been eminent domained without getting compensated for it. So the next move for me now that all the value of my property has been taken away is a taking action against the city that's going to be significant. So let's get that filed, and the 5 of you who are the final policymakers, you ultimately can be responsible for that along with the city. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Corey Blackwell, William Wiley, J.B. Dixon.
Good evening, City Council, Chair, Mayor, Administration. I want you to indulge me for one moment here. I'm going to read off some names. Joseph Brown, Alicia McDonald, Octavius Pittman, Lori Pettis, Maria Trico, Antonio Lawrence, Laura Duncan, Deshaun Reynolds, Javon Turner, Cedric McLean, Darius Graham, Courtney Fobbs. I can go on. Last but not least, Dexter Ferguson, 7-year-old young man that was killed on the 14th. I came to this mic about 3 weeks ago and I spoke and said that I was extending an olive branch to the chief and to the city to offer up my expertise any way I can as a police officer. I've served this community in a vast area from the sheriff's office for almost 25 years. Now I work for the school board. 2 days after Dexter Ferguson was killed, our city, I don't know who from the administration approved it, but we hosted an event at Wells Recreation Center, and we handed out hot dogs, we had music, and canine expedition. I ask you, can we do better? Can we do better? Our police department needs help. I put on a uniform like these men and women do every day. I applaud them. They're short-handed. If they need extra funds, I say you give it to them. I say your next meeting should have something on the agenda to speak with the chief and members of this community to find out what we're going to do about violence in this city. I'll leave that with you tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
William Wiley, J.B. Dixon.
Appreciate it. Sorry, hello, how you doing? William Wiley, born and raised here, Riviera Beach, honors algebra teacher here at Roosevelt Middle School, and avid citizen and also on the Planning and Zoning Board for the city of Riviera Beach. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Julie and Kashamba for the election and everything. I didn't get a chance to acknowledge you guys last time. And I would also like to congratulate Shirley Lanier for being an excellent decision to be the chair. And congratulations also to the Citizen Leadership Group there on the left. I was part of that group in 2017-18, and it was a great course to learn to be welcoming to the city. The thing I want to talk about tonight, class, about, and I'm sorry, I used to say class as in numbers class. Sorry. I start all my classes off like that, so I'm sorry. Respected, distinguished guest. All right, first of all, I'd like to congratulate, the city for staying on a positive path for the election and making sure that we kept the correct people in our city to take care of our city. And I've always said that we keep the city of Riviera Beach first. Is it okay for me to discuss tonight about the situation with, and I don't know whether I'm in order to say this or not, to talk about, I guess, the Alpha group, about the facilities? Is that okay to talk about right now?
It's public comment.
Public comment. I just want to make sure. Let's be frank about this. That was a bad deal to talk about. I know myself and Mr. McCoy, at one point, we discussed this a couple years ago when this first was birthed. And we didn't agree on it then, and I definitely don't agree on it now. Our city council's board job is to serve the people, protect the city, make economical decisions in the city's best interest, and ensure safety from threats that are foreign and domestic, all right? And after we saw this, what happened in March election, I'm pretty sure a lot of our city threats have been deemed internal, and hopefully that the city can make those corrections later on. In no way I'm speaking against any fraternity or any sorority group or any organization that does good deeds in the community. I was part of 8 years for the Marine Corps Reserve Unit, and I know about actually giving and making a commitment to the cities and to the state and to the country. But this deal was born in obscurity and in no way benefits the city and its people. Rent wasn't paid, liability insurance wasn't being paid at the time, and like Mr. McCoy said at one point, what if a child or someone got hurt and the city got sued, and it was a possibility that the city could have got sued. What would the conversation be then if that would have happened? All right, and at that point, once something was not, the rent was not done, was not paid, as Ms. Lanier said, she was very correct in saying this, the contract needs to be redone, but better yet, it needs to be terminated. We want a proper solution here, and we can make a change, of course, because Mr. Evans is clearly here as us, as a city, making a mistake and bringing him back to actually correct that mistake. So we can always make corrections. So if we get a chance, please, let's redo this contract and start over again, and hopefully we can let the city use that facility and make money off that city ourselves. That's what the city's supposed to do.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry for going over.
J.B. Dixon.
J.B. Dixon, Singer Island and Riviera Beach. I would like to agree with the last speaker that I also thought, upon hearing of the situation with the property rented by a fraternity, that I think it is horrendous that they are paying the city $100 and then charging these poor nonprofits who can barely afford it, because I know that they often ask for donations just to be able to pay their rent. So they have been taking in thousands of dollars by essentially subleasing the city's property, for which they are only paying $100 a month. And then they didn't pay that. To me, I can't understand why that lease is not completely canceled. And if a new contract is made with them, to make sure that the nonprofits receive breaks in their rent, because that should be what the city's interest is in leasing it to that group. I didn't mean to get off the topic until that was addressed by Mr. Wiley, but I really wanted to come today to say that the Singer Island Community Garden is finally underway, and this, I don't know if you've been over there, but you've now see a nice sign, very floral, mural that says that it is Singer Island Community Garden of Riviera Beach. This Friday and this Saturday, we really need volunteers. We need to plant 300 shrubs and dozens of flats of annual flowers to border Blue Heron Boulevard on the very edge of the garden. And we also need help in building the raised beds and transporting them to the garden. So we would like some hefty help from hefty people. But there's something for everyone to do, even if you cannot stoop or bend. We have sit-down jobs that are available. And many of us from the island have been over to the 10th Street Garden weeding, along with our councilwoman, Botel, and we would hope that our West Side neighbors will come over in return and help us on the Singer Island Garden this Friday and Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, please be advised that a member of the public attempted to turn in a public comment card after I announced that the acceptance of public comments was closed. We have ended public comment.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're now on to item number 9, resolution number 35-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida.
Not number 9, number 14. We're gonna.
Oh, 14, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to make sure that for the record.
Item number 14, Peanut Island Project Initiative. Madam Chair, members of the board, there are no public comments on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this item before you is a update with regards to the Peanut Island Project Initiative. As we went through multiple conversations and iterations with the Port of Palm Beach about the City of Riviera Beach being the entity responsible for the renovations and the reconstitution of the activities that were contemplated on Peanut Island, In order to work with the other municipalities, the town of Palm Beach Shores, the county, and the city of Riviera Beach, we secured the services of Ms. Barbara Cheeves with Convergence and Associates to assist in facilitating conversations between both the other municipalities to see about what we can do collectively to work together to see those facilities restored. And we had a couple of conversations, some discussions offline, and we end up getting to a point that it was a heavy lift for the agency to continue to move forward in such a fashion. And Barbara can provide additional perspective with regards to the conversation and the discussion, and certainly what we tried to do as an agency to facilitate those facilities coming back to life and doing it to little or no expense to the taxpayers of Palm Beach County. So without further ado, Barbara, if you want to provide a perspective.
Good evening, everyone. As the city manager stated, I was brought on in February to facilitate meetings between the cities that are all involved, the county, and the port. We held 3 meetings, and the the first 2 were held in this room. Just to give you a little bit of a feedback on those meetings, and from your staff at those meetings were the city manager, your city attorney, and assistant city manager Deirdre Jacobs, with representatives of all the other parties. The mayors of Palm Beach and Palm Beach Shores were very much in favor of restoring Singer Island and renovating the bunker and the historic sites on Singer Island, but not adding any new buildings, doing anything that would change the footprint of the island. They wanted no type of event center whatsoever, and they cited noise and heavy usage and boat traffic concerns for their respective residents at Palm Beach and Palm Beach Shores. And they stated that they were in favor of passive, low-key usage for the island. The county representatives were here, and they reminded everybody that the current comp plan for Peanut Island allows for no more than 4 events per year to be held on the island, and that the creation of an event center would require a change to the comp plan and would impose, as they said, stress on the sewers and the infrastructure of Peanut Island. They were not speaking in favor of any entity at that point, but giving us the facts, as they said it. The port explained to everybody that they had no interest in managing anything that went on that island. That meeting went on for about an hour and a half or to 2 hours, and I suggested at that point, because it didn't seem to be going anywhere, that everybody pause for the evening, go home, think about it, sleep on it, come back the next day, and we would ask Mr. Evans to give a more comprehensive plan on exactly what he was planning or what Riviera Beach thought could happen with the property. So we did that. We came back the next morning at 10. Mr. Evans gave a detailed report on the city's vision and the plan for Peanut Island. He explained the city wasn't planning a large event center, but a state-of-the-art welcome center that would be used for business meetings, class trips, and private daytime gatherings. The city would follow existing noise ordinances. He indicated that the city is also prepared to restore and renovate the historic buildings and return the boathouse to its original form, complete with the historic boat. He stated that this could be a major increase to tourism in the county and the city and increase the historical value of the island. And he stated the city was looking at a public-private partnership to finance this project so that it wouldn't be a strain on the municipality, but there would be a public-private partnership. And he also said that the city would be prepared to work with any party involved in the project. Mayor Fires of Palm Beach Shores wasn't in favor of that and decided that because we were having a public meeting in this room, he thought that we should select 2 members from each entity to come back together to hammer out the discussion and see what we could come to with all the parties involved. The mayors of the incoming mayor, the current and incoming mayor of the town of Palm Beach were here the first day, not the second, but Jay Bodeshwar from the town of Palm Beach reiterated that the town of Palm Beach remains opposed to any additional building on the island and maintained that they're only in favor of the restoration of the historical sites. The county stated that they're prepared to move forward with restorations and are willing to work with the city of Riviera Beach to explore future use of the development. The county reiterated that the current comprehensive plan prohibits any retail use on the island, which meant we couldn't sell anything on the island at all, even at a refreshment stand. We left that meeting and then reconvened on March the 10th. Those meetings were February 23rd and 24th. We, at the suggestion of Mayor Fire, we reconvened on March 10th at the Robert Weissman Governmental Center with the county. At that meeting, we had your Deputy City Manager, Elizabeth McBride, and Assistant City Manager, Deirdre Jacobs. Mr. Evans was unfortunately hospitalized at the time and unable to attend. The county at that point told us that grants could only be applied for by certified government entities. And the county, being in that certified entity, was prepared to apply for grants from the Department of the Interior. They emphasized that 5 years ago, the cost of restoration for the facilities was $5 to $5.5 million, and felt that they were in a place to get the grants to fill those obligations. The port stated at that meeting that they were not in the entertainment business and acknowledged that they had opened up the opportunity to the city of Riviera Beach to get in the running for the lease. Mayor Coniglio restated that the town of Palm Beach position was that the county should take the lead on the lease with all the cities shoulder to shoulder. An MAU should be drafted to spell out the roles of each entity, and this would be a community effort with the lagoon neighborhoods. She stated that there would be no changes in the land use, the comp plan, or the zoning. Mayor Fires echoed the Palm Beach recommendation, adding there should be a refreshment facility if we could do that, and he would be in agreement with changing the comp plan for something that small. And again, he recommended that the entities come together behind the county to hammer out the scope of the activities. Virginia Baker was with us and stated that all the entities should be clear on the use of the property before an MOU is signed. Ms. Baker suggested activities such as tours, approved cultural activities, Easter egg hunts for children. And Ms. Baker at that point clarified that the county had been discussing this with the port since 2000 and had begun discussing it in earnest since 2017 when the last lease was ended. In 2019 was when the board began discussing other opportunities, and at that point began to discuss things with the city of Riviera Beach. The port reminded everyone that the port board meeting expected a letter of intent at their March 18th meeting, and that the port required a 5-day notice to include all letters in advance of that meeting. And Ms. Baker indicated that that would require her to have a conversation with their legal department. All parties agreed that the first priority is restoration of the property, and that property should be open and available to students and tourists. All parties agreed that an MOU would be required. The single point of contention is that Palm Beach and Palm Beach Shores affirm that the island should be used for passive use only, and Riviera Beach envisions a more robust use of the property. The question remains, who is the port going to do business with? Who gets the lease? Should Riviera Beach submit a letter of intent? Palm Beach had told us that they intended to submit a letter as well to compete with Riviera Beach. Ms. Baker informed everyone that the county was in no position and did not intend to compete with any other entity. That meeting ended with Ms. Baker saying that she would get in touch with Mr. Evans and they would have a discussion. Excuse me. The final meeting was March 18th, which was the Port Commission meeting. Mr. Evans addressed the commission. He reported that Riviera Beach had great interest in the restoration and development of Peanut Island property, and they had a clear vision for a welcome center, educational space, meeting space, a vintage boat and a restored boathouse, an event space that would link activities to the current marina. He said that while Riviera Beach had the vision to create what would be the jewel of this community, it was clear that the city did not have the support of the neighboring municipalities. He stated that because the towns of Palm Beach and Palm Beach Shores had no desire to deviate from the previous policies or consider modification of the current comp plan, Riviera Beach would be hard-pressed to proceed given the lack of support. Mr. Evans stated that given the lack of synergy, Riviera Beach would yield to the county in taking leadership role and having them take a leadership role in the future of Peanut Island. Riviera Beach will remain at the table with the other municipalities as an MOU is developed and the specifics for the future use were determined. Mayor Fires publicly commended Mr. Evans on his decision and assured him that the usage of the island will be inclusive and encompass a rich diversity of the surrounding cities. Aaron Call from the county, Parks and Recreation, said that the county will take the lead on the island and that they're committed to restoration, not redevelopment, and to creating a low-impact educational facility. He echoed Mayor Fires that equity will be an important factor as they move forward. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I don't have a question, but I did just want to make mention that I did attend that port meeting, and I could say that Mr. Evans did really try very hard in terms of trying to make sure that the city had a appropriate seat at the table. And it's unfortunate that, you know, some of the neighbors that border the Peanut Island basically just wanted to sit as is. And you know, I don't quite fully understand it when just this weekend we had Flotopia, I think it was, and I mean, it was a very busy area, and so I'm not really sure of how that is different. So you know, I hope that at some point we're able to be realistic and try to share what we have out there in the waters, because it really could have been a really special thing, and I think at this point it's probably just going to remain as is, and it's just very unfortunate, but I appreciate all of your help and Ms. Sheaves as well. Thank you.
I do have to add one comment that Mr. Evans made at the end of his presentation of the report, because I thought it was brilliant. And he said in 20 years, people will look back at this and say it was a missed opportunity. And I honestly believe that it is.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo the sentiments of Councilwoman Miller-Anderson. I saw the efforts that Mr. Evans put forward to this project, to bringing something to our city, and I commend him for making every attempt possible. There was just pushback at every angle, and it's to the point now where we're going to have to just try to revisit this or hope there's a change of heart in those other areas to allow for us to work together and get something done and accomplished. So I do believe it is a missed opportunity, but I believe that there's also opportunity for us to come back and mend this and get something done in the hopefully near future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item number 9, resolution number 35-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, accepting the recommendation of staff and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute agreements with the firms of Vision, Young, Jones, Lang, LaSalle, Lambert, and Lambert Advisory LLC, and PFM Consultants to provide public-private partnership advisory services for various citywide projects, providing for 2 additional 12-month renewal options based upon the mutual consent of the parties, and providing an effective date. Madam Chair, members of the board, we do not have public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
I move that we accept resolution number 35-21.
Second.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this item before you this evening is seeking authorization to move forward with agreements for public-private partnership advisors. The list of advisors stem from financial advisors to real estate advisors to small and large-scale housing advisors. By allowing for us to move forward with this particular agreement, we can then utilize the professional services to facilitate P3 consultant work for the intent to negotiate with Fire Station 88, as well as the CRA is looking to adopt the same type of resolution at your next regular meeting to be able to utilize these services to help with the Marina Phase 2. Mr. Sherman is prepared to answer any questions the board may have, and staff recommends approval of the resolution before you this evening.
Thank you. Board members, are there any questions in regards to this item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Councilperson Botel? Vice Chair Pro Tem Miller Anderson? Chair Lanier?
Yes.
That motion is approved with councilpersons Botel and Miller Anderson out.
Next item?
Item number 10, resolution number 37-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement between MGT of America Consulting LLC and the City of Riviera Beach to undertake an impact fee study for an amount not to exceed $65,000 and provide an effective date. Madam Chair, members of the board, we have a public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comments is now closed.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 3721?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Public comment, Madam Clerk?
Dolores Williams.
I'm very disappointed with the board. I did put my card in the first time. But the only thing I was coming up here not to criticize any of you tonight or any item, but I got up here to honor one of the city workers to let y'all know, Pauline that worked with the city new engineer
Mrs.
man.
Williams, you have to comment on the item that is before us.
But
The
that's
item
all
is
I
in
want to
regards
say.
to an agreement between.
I know that. I just want to give a comment when I had it before.
But you have to comment on the item that is on the agenda, ma'am.
All I just wanted to give a comment on one of the workers in this city.
I
Pauline worked for
understand
the
that.
engineer. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much.
So her name Pauline, she worked for
Thank you very much, ma'am.
the new engineer. That's
Thank you
all
very
I want
much.
to say. And that's
Are there
all
any
what you
questions
did.
from the board in regards to this item?
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
With the impact fees, I just, the study, I just believe that this is something that we support in reference to taking a look at updating our impact fees, development and cost, and that's coming down the pipeline for our city. We're going to really need to be prepared financially. And the increase in recent crimes has already advocated problems in our community. Development, economics, process, and growth in the city is the only way that we can address certain things. As policymakers, this is how we implement this, by establishing programming, using some of these impact fees, by establishing some growth with our city, giving our police force additional support, increasing median income, utilizing these fees to properly fund our community. So I support the study. I really want to see how we can actually implement this into a process of changing the trajectory of our community. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments in regards to this item? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next item?
Resolution number 39-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing J.H. Sprague Consulting, LLC, to prepare and to submit a grant application for $648,525 for Phase 4 docks G-B and G-A as part of the approved 2021 5-year Marina Capital Plan under the Florida Inland Navigation District Waterways Assistance Program, and upon notification of award, accept the grant and authorize the finance director to establish the budget and provide an effective date. Madam Chair, members of the board, we do have a public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
I move that we accept resolution number 39-21.
Second.
Madam Clerk, public comment, please.
Thane Lozman.
Seeing he's not here, Madam Clerk, we will move on to comments from the board in regards to this item. Are there any comments on this item, board? Is there any presentation on this item?
Yes, Madam Chair, briefly. This particular item is requesting that the board authorizes J.H. Sprague Consultant to proceed forward with submitting a grant to the Florida Inland Navigational District for the amount of $648,525. The matching funds that would be needed in the event that the city is able to receive the grants has already been booked and has been planned, as this is part of subsequent phases of the marina dock projects that we have been working on for some time now. At this particular time, staff recommends approval of the item before you this evening, and no funds would be expended until the city receives confirmation that the grant has been secured.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the board?
Madam Chair.
Who said something? No?
That's it,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next item.
Resolution number 41-21, a resolution of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, approving $35,000 for the water tank art project and providing an effective date. Madam Chair, members of the board, we do not have public comment on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Presentation, Mr. Evans.
Madam Chair, this item before you seeking City Council authorization to proceed forward with expending $35,000 for the art on the water tank. The mayor has had a community meeting, which was held early last week, I believe. And the attendance numbers weren't as high as we anticipated because we had inclement weather. The mayor is going to set up another meeting to be able to get input from the community with regards to 2 additional persons, females, that we would place on the water tank. Originally, when the project was contemplated, there were 3 persons that would be on the water tank, 2 males and 1 female. And so we've expanded that to include an additional female. So there will be a total of 4 persons on the water tank. And so the mayor is working with the community as well as Ms. Noel to facilitate a subsequent digital meeting that will allow for additional feedback, and then that will come to the board. Previous action that the board did authorize is they did authorize us to move forward with the additional, the first 2 individuals associated with the project, and that is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and President Barack Obama. The cost associated with the project originally was anticipated to be $25,000, but with the additional persons that would be added to the tank, as well as some additional prep work that needs to occur, the total cost of the project is $35,000. At this particular moment, staff recommends approval of the item before you this evening, and then subsequent actions will come back before the board to select the 2 other persons that will be part of the art project.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Yes, Mr. McCoy? I'm sorry, Councilman McCoy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Evans, you said the project is from $25,000 now up to $35,000. Will we take this item back again to authorize the expenditure? Because this says just setting forth a budget.
This is something that would be all-inclusive if the board authorizes this particular expenditure request.
If it's above the limit, are we selecting 2 different vendors? What exactly? I'm not sure why we're adopting a budget and not an actual expenditure or contract or something of the sort.
The competitive solicitation occurred, and the original estimate was $25,000. Pursuant to the code, you do have the ability to authorize additional work if a competitive solicitation process has occurred, and so you do have that. There was not an additional solicitation that was provided for, because if you select an artist, you don't want another artist per se, in essence, working on that particular project. So that would deviate and probably change the scope of the project and maybe increase the cost associated with the project. So this particular item is requesting that the board authorize the $35,000 expenditure associated with the project to incorporate the 2 males that were mentioned earlier, as well as additional 2 females.
Mr. Evans, my only question that I'm asking is, this is asking us to approve a budget of $35,000. What you're asking us to do is essentially approve an expenditure. And the difference is, this resolution doesn't identify who exactly the expenditure is being set forth to. So that is what my concern is. If it's gonna be over $25,000, then obviously there should have been some indication of the exact vendor that we're using. So that's what I was a little, not certain on.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm waiting on a response.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, if it's the board's desire to provide additional clarity with regards to the expenditure request of $35,000, but the title of the resolution is approving $35,000 for the water tank art project.
Okay, Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So I don't have a problem with it. I mean, if it's necessary to insert who the vendor is, then I want to be able to do that and make sure that it's done proper, because this does exceed the $25,000 threshold. Now, if you were suggesting to me that there was other prep work, meaning that there was another vendor that was going to do the prep area or do the pressure washing or something, then I think that that's permissible. I just don't want it to come back that this was not properly, in my opinion, properly authorized, because it does exceed the limit in the manager's authority. However, there's missing an actual vendor.
You want to address that, Ms. Evans? Has that been addressed properly, Mr. McCoy?
No, they're talking. They're talking.
And while they're deliberating on it, I guess my other concern is, Mr. Evans, if you can also just clarify the source of the funds, because I think I mentioned it says any legal funds. I just want to make sure that we're clear that this is coming from the authority of the city manager's budget and not USD dollars.
That is correct, Councilperson. The funds that are available for the particular project would come out of funding that's available in the city manager's budget to accomplish the project at the total cost of $35,000. If it is the board's pleasure, we can add in a provision in there in Section 3 that names the particular artist that will be doing the project, because there is no sub work that will be provided to any additional contractor. They will manage the project in its entirety. And the gentleman's name is Harold Claudio. C-A-U, Claudio.
All right, well,
All right, thank you, sir.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think my concern is that I would be voting on something that doesn't have a certain design. I mean, you're asking us to vote on something when we really don't know what the final project is going to look like. So, I mean, while you're saying that you're going to leave it up to another community charrette to pick the two other figures to go on the tower, I would feel more comfortable waiting to vote on this until after it's decided what those two figures are, because I may decide I don't agree with it. So my preference would be to put this aside for a moment or two, well, a week or two, until you have an opportunity to have these community meetings so that we really know what it is we're voting on.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
With regards to the artist starting on the project, the intent was for him to start on the first two individuals, because he has turned down additional jobs and delayed the project. And so our concern is we are going to look to have the subsequent meeting and then bring that before you as far as the name of females that would be considered as individuals that the community wanted to see on the tank, and that will be brought to you at your May 5th meeting. But they would look to start the work on the two individuals that the board provided consensus that they were comfortable with. So you ultimately will have the final say on those two individuals. We're just going to provide recommendations to the board based on what the community's input is, and I think this would be the fourth meeting that we've had on the project.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Are you finished, Ms. Botelfi?
Yes.
So it was originally $25,000 for 3 people, right?
That's correct.
And then how did they come up with the additional $10,000 for a 4th person?
There was some, when the vendor pressure washed the tank, there was some damage that occurred that they actually scraped off too much of the paint off of the tank, so it needs to be corrected and fixed and replaced, and that's why the costs have gone up. associated with the particular project, and then the other person that we have added on the tank that had some costs associated with it.
Did they ever provide like a budget or invoice or of some sort with the breakdown of all of the prices of everything? I think before it was under the 25, so we didn't necessarily, it wasn't really for us to be getting involved with because it was being handled by you. So was there something provided in terms of the cost?
We do have an estimate on the cost or an invoice on the cost, but it's not broken down per individual as it relates to the particular project. It's the total cost, and then a deposit was requested, but it's not broken down that specifically as to all the nuances that would be needed or done as associated with the project.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Yes.
Madam Chair, I want to offer this disclosure, which I think is probably not required, but I think it's more necessary. But I did actually engage Mr. Cardio back on March 28th to do a personal photo, which I paid in advance. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't come up that in some way that this, and I had to go back and look at the date, but I want to make sure that there is no. Huh?
This is what you paid for? Oh my.
No, I don't have. No, it was a personal photo that I engaged him with, and I got my Cash App to prove it.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that I give that disclosure. So in no relation, and that's almost actually why I wanted to make sure that we clarify who this resolution, because we have a very unusual circumstances that will then turn around and end up in a circumstance where there's a suggestion that this may have been associated with it, but well advanced, and I'll offer this up into public records that this was something I engaged well ahead of this item.
Thank you. My comments for this is I was anticipating $25,000 for this project, and the $35,000 I have heartburn with. Second of all, I don't have, if I could have at least seen what it would look like. I'm sure that the artist would, could do a sketch for us or something that could give us some idea of what the water tank would look like. And then third of all, I think that we need, when you say community charrettes and community events, we certainly want to be able, we don't want to, keep having them ad nauseum and nothing happens, but we also want to make sure that we have everything set before we get started with this. Now, with that being said, we're still looking at another additional two individuals another one individual that's costing us $10,000. I just do have some heartburn with the cost.
Madam Chair.
Hold on a second, I'm not finished. The heartburn that I have with the cost, as I stated before, was the fact that going into this, up until now, we were looking at $25,000 with the discretion, under the discretion of the city manager's budget. But now we have went up to $35,000, and even though I love art in public places, especially the project that Councilman Lawson brought forth, those types of projects will be funded through developers who are bringing business to our city, and that funding would come out of those funds, not from the city. And therefore, we're looking at $35,000 from the city coffers for a painting on the water tank. And as I said before, I like art in public places, but I have heartburn with this going from $25,000 to $35,000. Those are my comments.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
So we can stay at the 25,000. I would personally give $10,000, my personal money, to get our project on the water tank. Should you guys approve the 25? I personally put 10 with it.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, before you get to committing, I'm not sure if and I'm certainly not saying that I don't think you should do that, but if I'm hearing the manager correctly, the additional dollars that's being requested is in part by some routine maintenance that occurred.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, when we had the tank pressure wash to prepare the site for the artist, actually the company pressure washed too much and actually peeled off some of the paint, which caused some damage to the site. So the issue has to be cured before it can be painted. And so that's some costs associated with that. And we also looked at a vendor that would come in and do that to see if that was something that we can reduce the number of the project. But what would happen is invariably the vendor would not, it would be tough for the vendor to be able to get it exactly where the artist felt comfortable. And actually it was cheaper for us to engage the artist to facilitate that particular process consistent with what they need the site to be to move forward with the project.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking at the actual cost, that the original invoice or original expense was $25,000 with 3 individuals. We requested to add a 4th individual. That additional cost is a rough estimate of about, if it was per individual that he was painting, paint, time, effort, $8,333. If we add that to the $25,000 cost, that takes us up to about $32,000. So I'm assuming that the maintenance cost is why it went up to the 35. I don't think that I would actually want the mayor to contribute those $10,000 to this project. I do agree with Councilwoman Lanier that there is a little bit of heartburn, but we did request to add that 4th person, and I would actually like to move forward with it because I know that the artist has been waiting to get started on this project, and I think it will be an amazing kickstart. I agree with Councilwoman Lanier that I really want us to move forward, and in my comments I was going to address the arts in public places and get some feedback on that so we can actually attract some of these local vendors and businesses that are coming to our community to assist with it. But I think this will be a good kickstart that we can invest into as a community to really kind of be the catalyst for that arts in public places. So I would actually be in support of the item as is. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other comments in regards to this item? None. Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
Yes.
Councilperson Botel?
No.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
No.
That motion is approved with Councilpersons Lanier and Botel dissenting.
Next item?
Resolution number 40-21, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, Florida, authorizing the Director of Finance and Administrative Services to appropriate $150,000 from the Department of Development Services Reserves budget to account number 101-17101-531000 and provide an effective date. Madam Chair, members of the board, we do not have any public comments on this item. The acceptance of public comment on this item is now closed.
I move we adopt resolution number 40-21.
Second.
Thank you. Any public comments?
Madam Chair, members of the board, we do not have any public comment on this item.
Mr. Evans?
Madam Chair, since Director Sermons is such an excellent presenter, I think it's only appropriate he comes up here and does his own presentation. So I'd like to have the Director of Development Services, Mr. Clarence Sermon.
All right, Mr. Trophy.
I did say I'm always happy to talk about development services, so. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the council, Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor. As stated, this item is to replenish the funds in the department's professional services account as they have been more quickly depleted in this fiscal year. And I am here to answer any questions there may be related to the item.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for Mr. Sermons?
Yes. Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So if it's 75,000, why are we asking for 150? Just in case something else occurs or what?
Yes, this amount is to cover us for the remainder of the year. We do project additional expenses related to legal items related to the department, but as well as any other professional services activities. So that includes third party for our building department for CAP, even though we only use them in a limited capacity. We do have expenses there. We have items such as consultants for our comp plan work. So all of those things come out of our professional services account. And again, it has been depleted more quickly than normal this year. So we would like to avoid having to come back to council later on in this fiscal year to cover any further expenses. So we projected out how much we would need for the remainder of the year, and anything not expended during this fiscal year would be returned to the reserves account for the department.
So just looking forward, when we do budget or start talking about budget, do you foresee this being something we probably need to increase, or is this some anomaly?
Yes, that is something we are considering. We don't expect a reduction in some of the items that have garnered legal expenses, and we are looking to do some significant work on our comp plan in the coming years. So we will ensure during the next budget cycle we can cover those without having to do any future transfers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Sherman? Madam Clerk?
Councilperson McCoy? Councilperson Votel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Next item is a discussion by the city manager.
Yes, Madam Chair, just briefly, just to remind everyone that we do have the ribbon cutting of our urban farm that is to occur on Saturday. So we did send a meeting invite to the elected officials, but for those members of the public that would like to join us, the address is 1621 West Blue Heron. It's actually on the site that the old fire station 88 was on, and that goes from 12 to 3. The ribbon cutting part of it starts at 12, but it's contemplated that they'll keep you there working and providing some type of support to be able to get our urban farm up and operational. And the intent behind this urban farm is to address some of the food gaps that we have in our community, and we anticipate being able to deliver anywhere between 8,000 to 10,000 pounds of fresh organic produce to our community. So thank you for the support and the leadership from the board to see this project come to fruition. So this is one of many projects that will be coming online. Also, the staff has requested a special meeting of the City Council on Wednesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. That is to deal with the ITN, our intent to negotiate with Fire Station 88. You will hear a presentation from the firm that has submitted for the solicitation, and then staff, and then hopefully we can move forward in subsequent steps to bring that fire station out of the ground. Also, to the council, we will be talking with you individually. Staff has come up with an idea and solution as it relates to Fire Station 86. That's the fire station on Singer Island, and we do want to discuss possibilities that we've identified of property where the new station can go, and seemingly we may be able to look to have both those fire stations under construction at the same time. So some exciting things are on the horizon, and then our library is on track. And for any of the elected officials that would like to get an opportunity to tour the facility, please let myself or anyone in the city manager's office know, and we can get that coordinated. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank
Madam Chair,
you.
question regarding that.
Yes, go ahead.
Is there going to be a formal ribbon cutting or something of the sort with the library?
Yes, Councilman McCoy, we are going to, our library grand opening is going to be on Juneteenth. Actually, on the morning of that day, we'll have our demolition ceremony at the old library, and then later on in the day, we'll have our grand opening at the new library. So that day, staff is working out the logistics, and will provide the save-the-date card for all the elected officials and members of the community.
Thank you. City Attorney.
Yes, Madam Chair. Briefly, I sent you all an email, I believe yesterday early, regarding the firearm preemption lawsuit that the city is a party to. And I need to get your, I need some direction from you all on whether you want to proceed with the appeal to the Florida Supreme Court, or whether you want to sit this out. As I stated in the memo, the previous council agreed to enter into the appeal to the First District Court of Appeal. This was urged by Councilwoman Botel at the time, and I don't know if she wants to speak to it or not, or if you have any questions as it relates to the firearm preemption lawsuit. I've spoken with a couple of you about it, and I can go through it if you want me to.
No, not at this moment, but you want to have a comment to it?
Just a quick comment, in that I would urge my colleagues to approve the expenditure of the remaining $900. I mean, we originally got into this and spent $10,000, and there were only 10 or a dozen cities involved, and now I think there are 30. So the cost for us to continue in this important endeavor is minimal, and I feel very strongly that many, if not all, of the residents of Riviera Beach would like to see us freed from the shackles of the preemption that the state has placed on us, so that we cannot bring forth any gun regulations in this city, lest we be fined personally $5,000, kicked off of council, and have the city fined $100,000. So the purpose of going to the Supreme Court would be to remove those restrictions from us so that we could engage in sensible gun control. Nobody's wanting to take anybody's guns away. But we do want to be sure that we're engaging in sensible gun control in the city, with the hope that other cities, neighboring cities, will follow our lead and do the same. So I urge you, and as a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion that we expend the remaining $900 in this endeavor.
Second.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to be recognized for debate.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So I just want to kind of clarify some alternative facts by the member from the 4th District. Respectfully, Councilwoman Botel, I want to just make sure that in all seriousness, and I'm going to ask for Ms. Wynn's help, what we're being asked to do does not change the law. And I want to make sure that the members understand that. In fact, what's here, and we have to be very, very clear and honest about what we're spending the $900, and it's not the $900. I'd be happy to join in, but I don't want to give us the false hope. But we cannot change the law. The only part of the law that is ripe for the court to consider is whether or not we can be held personally liable. But here's the caveat, and this is very important that the members understand that. That's the only thing that's going to be brought before the Supreme Court. As it stands right now, if anyone, ourselves included, the city attorney or the city manager or the police chief or any representative or agent of this city of Riviera Beach attempts to enact anything that is not already authorized under law, you are violating the law. So the very notion that you're going to offer something that's going to remove the penalties means we have to first violate our oath of office by doing something in contravention to the state law. So the only thing that's of challenge at this point is whether or not we can be held personally liable. And I shared this with Ms. Wynn the other day. Members, you may know that House Bill 1 just passed and was authorized by the governor that actually holds us personally liable. Me personally, I'm just going to stay far away from any kind of regulations that's going to make me personally liable. And I don't understand why we would spend $900 on something that's going to be fruitless, because for us to actually be personally found liable, we had to actually go and personally violate something that's already preempted to the state. So members, I just don't know that it's actually something that we should spend an additional $900. And I was saying this before, and I think you remember this, Councilwoman Botel, that even in the beginning, I didn't think it was a good idea because there was no real, in my opinion, purpose to do this, because you would have a hodgepodge of regulations. And I restate my point that in order to be penalized mean we have to first violate the law, and I would hope that we don't get in that situation, even though sometimes I mysteriously see arbitrarily unreasonable searches being done. But I would like to say that at this point, we're going to find ourselves in more trouble. I yield. That's
Thank
all I
you,
have.
sir. Any other questions in regards to this item? There's been a motion, it's been seconded. Madam Clerk?
Councilperson Botel?
Yes.
Councilperson Lawson?
Yes.
Councilperson McCoy?
No.
Pro Tem Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Chair Lanier?
Yes.
That motion is approved with Councilperson McCoy dissenting.
Any other comments, City Attorney?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
City Council committee reports. Any committee reports for the public?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
a quick, April 15th, I attended the Transportation, Energy, and our Ocean panel for Sustainable Palm Beach North presented by Palm Beach Transportation Planning Agency, and I believe I asked that the information from that session be shared with my colleagues on council. And on today, that's April 21st, I attended the Palm Beach County League of Cities board meeting, at which I was elected to be the representative from the League of Cities to the Hunger Relief Advisory Committee for Palm Beach County. In addition, at that meeting, we had a report from Michael Stahl at from the Environmental Resource Management about the fact that the county has completed its, that is the County Environmental Resource Management Group, has completed its amendment to the Floating Structures Ordinance, and I believe that my legislative aide has or will present you with the synopsis of that Floating Structure Ordinance, which will have its first reading before council on in mid-May. And I'm hopeful that my colleagues will join me in supporting the acceptance of that new floating structure ordinance by the county commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you. We will start with comment. I'm sorry.
Can I ask her a question? Did you say that it's going to come before the county or before the council?
The county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a county. The thing about it is, and the value to us is, it's a county ordinance, which means from which municipalities can opt out. So the thought is that most municipalities will not opt out, and that we will have one uniform ordinance throughout the county that will govern floating structures, so that no matter where the floating structure is, whether it's on Palm Beach Shores, Riviera Beach, Singer Island, wherever, we'll have one uniform way of dealing with these floating structures, and maybe finally be able to remove some of them from our waterways.
And lastly, you weren't suggesting that we get in contact with your legislative?
No.
Okay.
He has copies of it in the back, which he was going to hand out. So
Okay,
he'll give you those.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. We have comments from the mayor and city council, starting with the mayor.
No comments, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Starting with Councilman Lawson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to highlight two events that are happening this weekend. There's an expungement resource fair that's being hosted in our city, and that is going to be from 9:30 to 4 o'clock on Saturday in front of City Hall. That's going to be an amazing resource for just residents of our community to learn about expungements, to learn about voting rights. And it's hosted by Minorities for Medical Marijuana, True Leaf, Justice for All Foundation. And it looks like it's going to be a really good event. So I'd love for my colleagues to come out Saturday if they're available. After that, I believe the organization, Reggie D Foundation, and the poetry event will be, the National Poetry event is going to be at the Marina starting at 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. I think that would be a phenomenal event for our community. I wanted to personally invite my colleagues out on Monday. I'm hosting a reentry mental health forum. Every 3-month cycle, we've been doing a mental health forum in the minority community to just kind of bring awareness to mental health in our community. This month, we're going to be focused on, since it's reentry month and second chance month, we're going to be focused on the effects of mental health in our community, especially with our returning citizens. So at 7 p.m., it'll be hosted right here in the Marina, and I'd love for my colleagues to come out. And finally, Mr. Evans, if you can provide for the next agenda item a update in the arts and public places presentation, because I know that fell into your office. So if we can get an update on that and kind of proceed and start beginning to move forward, because I'm excited that we're moving forward with the water tank, but I want to implement this process so that when budget cycle comes around and impact fees are being discussed, we can have this as a discussion, because we have a multi-million-dollar worth of development coming, so I want to be prepared as a city. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Councilman McCoy?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilwoman Botel.
Yes, just a reminder that my quarterly Singer Island Town Hall meeting will take place on May 20th at 6 at the Ambassador Center at 1229 East Blue Heron. We'll have a Moderna COVID vaccination event this Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And then the people who are doing the vaccinations are going to be going over to Sonoma Bay and then I think Thousand Oaks. But for us on Singer Island, it's going to be from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Walk-ins are welcome, but I will post on Nextdoor and Facebook the number if you'd like to make an appointment. I want to thank Bishop Masters for providing the opportunity, and thank Mr. Carl Presto for the use of his beautiful boutique hotel as the venue. That's 1000 East Blue Heron. It's the little motel right across the bridge on the north side. Again, reminder that the Singer Island Community Garden will be planting out there at 8:30 on Friday. I'll be there, and I'm not sure if I'll be there on Saturday as well, but because I have a beach cleanup at Loggerhead Marine Life Center at 8:30 on Saturday, so I invite anybody who would like to join me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Miller Anderson.
The only thing I wanted to announce, I received a call earlier today regarding let me put on my glasses, hold on. Fumbled through it. John Lewis National Action Day will be on May 8th, and it's a call to action. They're asking for all of the help of everyone to participate in this right to vote event. It's going to take place nationally, and they're planning a really big event here in Palm Beach County. It's going to be a nonpartisan event, so no campaigning out there. Everyone will be able to join in. They'll have a votercade going from Boynton Beach, and they want to end it here in Riviera Beach. I do believe they have already submitted paperwork, and I think they're trying to end it somewhere, I believe at Wells. But if anyone is interested in participating, you can contact them at votingrightsalliance.org, and the Palm Beach County Coordinator contact is V. Lynn Whitfield. Her number is 561-856-6757, or Ms. Mamie Kisner at 561-319-7785. And as I said before, it's a national call to action, and there are a list of maybe 50 different organizations, national organizations, that are endorsing this event. So if you're interested, please contact them and they can provide you more information. But they're asking for the community to get involved, and then at the end they'll meet up, I believe, at Wells where the application's been submitted. So they're trying to get the support of all of the city of Riviera Beach, being that it's going to end here in our city. And then I just had a question for Mr. Evans regarding, I don't remember if we talked about it with the vaccines, because people are asking about, will we be doing vaccines? I don't know if we talked about it last week or not, but if you could just kind of tell people where we are with it in terms of not doing it every week.
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, we are only doing second shots at this particular moment. Our site has transitioned for us to do second shots, so we still have our pod open on Thursday, Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for second shots, and those are for persons that have received shots from the city of Riviera Beach. If persons are looking for the first shots, we can put information on our website. We'll have it up tomorrow, but we have been assisting persons that are coming out to our site because Gaines Park is still providing for first shots, as well as the county's mega site that they have at the fairgrounds that has thousands of appointment spots that are available. Also, I think it's important for the community to know that you are seeing a situation where the mega sites and some of the sites that are happening throughout certain municipalities, we're not 100% sure how long some of those continuations of first shot dosage will be available. So as soon as we hear more information as it relates to the state's plan or the county's plan, any deviation, we'll be sure to let the community and the public know. But at this particular moment, our site has transitioned to provide for second shots only for those individuals that have an appointment with the city of Riviera Beach. And if you do have a second shot that's scheduled, your appointment time is the same time that you got for your first shot. So it's important for folks to know that, because we do follow up, but sometimes people forget, and so we did want them to know that. So there's some information that we can put on our website for persons that are interested in first shots.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one other thing. I forgot to, applaud the police department for the event that they had on Friday. I think they had more fun than everybody else out there, especially with the dunk tank. But it was a really great event. I wish more people could have participated, perhaps in the future, maybe on a weekend, maybe there'll be more people to participate. But it was a really nice event for those that came out. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I just have a couple of brief comments. I wanted to thank, this past Saturday, we had our neighborhood cleanup on 6th and 7th Streets in Riviera Beach. A special thank you to the Democratic Women's Club of Palm Beach County, who assisted in the beautification of the property right across the street from West Riviera Elementary. They planted flowers, they cleared bushes, they laid mulch for hours, and then they headed over to the vaccine site at Wells Recreation Center to assist. Also thanking the CRA and Ms. Jenkins for putting it together, Ty Hannah for Thrive for a Change, and the young ladies of Gold Chasers. Second announcement, 13th Street informational session. As you know, and you probably heard from me numerous times about the major trucks coming down 13th Street. We're having an informational session on Thursday, May 6th from 6 to 7 right on 13th Street in the open on the street, because we want as many residents as we possibly can to come out and give their feedback into what type of traffic calming we'll use for that area. And also, the last comment is I am so excited and so happy about the urban farm groundbreaking for the city of Riviera Beach, which means that we will have our own legitimate, full-fledged organic farm to feed the residents in the city. And April 24th, 12 to 3, please come out, 1621 West Blue Heron Boulevard, and that, folks, is our show.